Did Melissa say anything to you? Oh? Oh? You gotta tell me when we're going live.
Oh. Well, maybe we'll talk about it. I don't know. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Next on the Floor. My name is Harris, and I'm going to be your host with the most, and I'm joined by the ever incomparable Gary Nuxterry. Hi, Gary Nuxterry. How are you today?
Didn't get a countdown or anything.
No countdowns. We don't do countdowns.
Didn't get a places.
Ooh,
no places. No 5 to places. Nothing like that.
No, we just, throw you into the ringer. Throwing you into the ringer.
Going live.
We're live in now.
How are you doing today, Harrison?
I am doing okay. It has been a very I think this is the first week where I felt like I could take a full breath and have a small sense of calm and just a sense of calm finally.
Guess what I did?
What? Breathe?
I slept.
Oh my gosh.
For the first time in a while.
Yay.
Well, a good night's rest. I slept this whole weekend. Saturday, slept all Saturday, slept all day. Got up at like 1:40, in the afternoon. Played video games all day.
Nice.
Took a nap. It was great. It was lovely.
I took a nap just before we started filming this. It was really nice. I laid in bed and then could feel myself drifting. And so I was like, okay, I can give myself a quick nap.
I can let this happen.
Yeah. It's so funny how we spend all of our childhood being completely against the concept of taking a nap or going to sleep or whatever. And now that I'm an adult, I'm like, I need more naps. We want naps. We want naps.
We just need to have siestas in the middle of the day.
Yeah, I think we should really get on to that, into that whole. It's a whole vibe, and I feel like we're doing ourselves a huge disservice by, as a society, collective society of the Americas, by not entertaining the concept of more sleep.
Yeah.
Think about how much happier people would be.
And it would boost productivity too.
100%. People are well rested, they're willing to go to work. I'd be much more likely / interested in taking care of my plants. I've got to do some serious planting and pottery. I know you can't see it right now because your camera is looking a different way, but I've moved all of my plants around. I have adopted 3 new plants.
It looks like a jungle.
It is, yeah. So this guy, I forget. One of our students told me the name of this. If you know what the name of this plant is, please, say it in the comments below. But this guy is growing out of control. I trimmed this guy, so but he's still growing, so that's really great. I trimmed off these guys because they were getting all the way down to the floor, but they're sprouting again, which is cool. So that's neat. My little herb garden down there is starting to do stuff. I've got to water my spider plant, which is right there. She's doing okay. I also have to repot it. I've got...
What herbs do you have in your herb garden?
Oh, man. I've got some parsley, some cilantro, some green onions. I've got some thyme, rosemary, sage. Pothos. That's what it's called. Thank you, Marcy. This is a pothos. That's exactly what it is. I remember. Okay.
So you're
Yay.
saying you got all the basic herbs.
I've got all of the basic herbs. I also have pineapple sage, which is really cool. And then, I've got my, what is that? Purple shamrock right there. Another pothos or something over there that is going nuts. Another spider plant over there. Some jade.
So the question is,
Yeah.
do you name your plants?
No, I
Like
haven't gotten around to that because I'm afraid if as soon as I name them that they'll die and then I'll feel really bad. It's kind of like yeah, it's kind of like
that's
you
it's
know.
very the quiet place
Oh,
of you.
I
The
was gonna
quiet
say
place.
it's very like I was gonna say bird
Oh,
box.
bird box.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
quiet.
don't want to create too much of an attachment to them because, I don't want.
They could die at any moment.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna feel bad regardless. And so, the last thing I need is to feel bad about my plants just keeling over and dying.
It's like, oh no, I killed Decimus.
I know. And everybody's gonna be like, who? Huh?
I mean, you know, Meridius Maximus. You know.
Yeah, for realsies. So anywho, plants notwithstanding. What's new in the world? I ask, knowing that everything is new in the world. And things are crazy and chaotic.
Well, it's snowing today.
Is it?
Didn't expect that.
So
Didn't
I
wasn't looking at the
actually
news.
I have not. Oh wow, it really did snow a lot. I have not looked outside once at all today.
That adds up.
I have
That
been an
adds up.
actual shut-in.
Oh man. Yeah, I know. I woke up and I was like, it is snowing. It
Good
is
golly.
full on.
Yeah, it's
I
a
think
full on good like
I
inch
think
or
we're
two.
getting like 3 to 5 inches.
Oh, good. All right. Well, hopefully it stops before the morning because I have to go get my hair cut. But well, that's fun. So snow. Let's see what has changed since last episode of Next to the Floor.
Well, today's the Super Bowl and the Olympics are happening.
Oh
So
yeah,
those are
isn't the Super Bowl has already started, or started like an hour ago. They
I don't even know who's playing.
I know the Bengals. That's about it. That's all I know. The Bengals, and I'm hopping on Twitter because then I can, give us an update on who's playing and what's happening. Not that I really care, or I don't know if people at home know me, but oh, it's the Rams.
Oh yeah.
So that's cool.
Students,
Odell Beckham
students
Jr.
always ask
Like, who are you rooting for? And I'm like, I don't.
for what? What do you mean? The
Right.
Super Bowl. I'm like,
For what?
when is that? They're like, oh, it's this weekend. I'm like, I
Great.
haven't watched any football. I work here, so
Right. Hello. So at the end of the first quarter, the Los Angeles Rams are up 7-3 over the Cincinnati Bengals. So that's cool, or whatever.
yeah, I know, and like,
But the
I
halftime
heard
show,
this halftime show.
yeah, is gonna
Yeah, I heard.
be it's gonna be like blackety black black bliggity black.
Wait, I thought Eminem was in the halftime show.
Well, it's Dr. Dre, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Snoop Dogg, and one other person. Oh, Kendrick Lamar. So, okay, so even Eminem, so the statement that I said still stands, and I'll give it a reason why. So, Blackity Black, Black, halftime show. They said, like, this show is for the black people. They said this is for the black people watching at home. It was kind of like, it makes me think of like the Beyonce halftime show. when it was like, this is for Black people, deal with it. Sorry about it.
Yep.
But
You know, there's about to be people complaining about it too.
oh, 100%. They're gonna be like, "Oh, this is inappropriate. Think of the children." Blah 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 blah, which is what they say every single year about it. The halftime show. You know, like, why aren't they like last year with was it last year with J Lo and Shakira?
I think it was 2020. Yeah, I think it was last year.
Whenever, oh, it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Where, you know, the biggest complaint was like, you know, this is America, they should be singing in English, right? And then when Beyonce did her thing, it was, you know, why do they have to make it a political statement? And this year it's going to be, you know, think of the children, blah 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 blah. But like, you know, shut up.
Yeah.
Sorry about it.
Yeah, it's just, you know, it's not their culture, so they're offended by it.
I mean, I think people forget that, you know, that the cross section of, or even like if you look at who watches football and who partakes in football, that the average football fan is not a monolith, right? There are, you know, and I think you can say that about any community, that any one particular community is not a monolith, and that, you know, you can't expect all people who partake in a particular, you know, game or whatever, are going to enjoy the same things. And so because of that, shut up and go watch, like, you know, hop on YouTube and watch like the Springsteen halftime show from whatever year that was, or go watch, like, you know, not for nothing, like, go watch the NSYNC, Aerosmith, Britney Spears one from like 2000, which I still will argue was one of the best halftime shows of all time.
Oh, it was good.
I will die on that hill. You know, Beyonce is really, really good. I love me some Beyonce. Shakira and J Lo, really, really great. What was another one that was really good? Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake's was really, really good. Until Justin Timberlake ruined Janet Jackson's career. That's another story for another day.
You didn't like Katy Perry's?
I mean, like, was it meme worthy? Absolutely. Was it a cultural reset? I don't think so. You know, are there moments in her performances that will go down in history? Absolutely. Like Left Shark, for sure, will go down in history. But will her
I was there for Left Shark.
Right, but will the rest of her performance go down in history? No. Everybody will remember.
She performed?
Exactly. There was a performance. So I think that's the point, right? Like, Left Shark will be remembered. Everything else, whatever. But circling back to, you know, the likes of Eminem, I think we talked about this at one point on like one of our earlier episodes, which we're already up to episode number 34, which is the craziest part. But many moons ago, we were talking about Eminem and his like career, and how he is like the only white man to have made a name for himself in the hip hop and rap community, to the point where like he's actually like a respected member of the hip hop and rap community in the most, like, you would think in the most bizarre way. But I forget, there was like an MTV Behind the Music that special that aired a couple years back, and a couple years back can really mean anything at this point in time, but it's on YouTube, but so I highly recommend it. I'm gonna find the link and put it into the link or into the description, but I highly recommend watching it. It basically talks about like Eminem's career, growing up in Detroit and blah blah blah, how he made his made a name for himself in the rap community with the help of Dr. Dre, and how, you know, he is the only white rapper to date who has like basically done the right things with his hip hop in his career, in the sense that he's a lot of what he does pays homage to like the black creators before him. Like he's very aware of like his station and where he stands within the hip hop community. He knows that it's not necessarily a space that was made or created for him, and he respects that completely. Yeah, is he problematic? Absolutely. Like,
I mean, but you know, most
but I
rappers
mean,
are.
like, the majority of rappers are. But I think there's something to be said for him as an ally of the black community, which is a, you know, I don't want to. I'm not here today to say that, you know, like we are saying that Eminem is invited to the cookout. But like, would he get a to-go plate? Probably. Like, would he be allowed to like swing by and say hi? I think so.
I'm pretty sure he's invited to the cookout.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's invited to
Depends
the.
on who's. It depends on, you know, depends on who's hosting it,
Right.
because you know he does have. He's not buddy buddy with all the rappers out there.
Oh, of course.
You know.
Behind the music. Hold on. I'm gonna get this link in.
Yeah, I was like, you just straight up talking about 8 Mile. Like, I'm pretty sure we've all seen Eight
No,
Mile.
it's not an. Oh, it's not an 8 Mile thing. They literally did a behind the music um documentary. Um, like he and Snoop Dogg are like best friends. Um, he is tight with Dr. Dre and that whole crew. And basically, like in the hip hop community, if you're tight with Dre, you're like in, which is awesome. And you know, like he's one of the few rappers who has music that caters to both of his audiences, right? He's got like his Slim Shady phase, right, which caters to like the, you know, the punky white kids. And then you have his much more like real rap, where he's like this, like if you listen to some of his stuff, this man spits poetry. I don't care. He's one of the best lyricists out there. Don't care. I'll say it.
He really is. He really is.
Anywho, enough about Eminem and the Super Bowl halftime show, which should be okay or cool or whatever. The Rams are now 13-3, so we all know.
Let's 13-3. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's switch over to Olympics. I heard the Olympics. A lot of the Olympians have been having, you know, trouble with.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw a TikTok of some Olympian crying because there was like no food.
Yeah, they probably were just late to the buffet.
Late to the buffet. I mean, like if you know that the buffet is from 7 to 9 p.m. or 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., you don't show up at 8:30. You know, when they're starting to shut it down. You show up at 7. Get your plate, get another plate, bring that plate back up to your room, put another plate over top of it, grab some ice cubes, put it in a napkin, keep it cold, you know, put it under your bed, whatever, come back to it later. I've got a whole plan. Been there, seen that. You know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Gotta do what you gotta do. Save a plate, you know. Get 2 plates.
But who was I talking to the other day about the Olympics and like how incredible a lot of these athletes are? I mean, like that just goes without saying, you know. I feel like my favorite thing is, especially during the Olympics season, is all of the like, you know, stay-at-home chads who always have something to say.
Like, oh, I could have done that. Like, no, you could. No, you.
Right.
That's
No,
why
where?
you're
Right.
sitting
That's
on
why
the
you're
couch.
right. And so if you could, then why aren't you there? So it really makes me think back to, was it literally just this past summer where it was the Summer Olympics because they moved it a year? So like just the whole situation with Simone Biles where people were like, oh, she shouldn't have quit, blah, 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 blah. It's like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. First and foremost, like, of course you can say that sitting in the comfort of your own home on your ass doing nothing. But like, you don't know the months, years of training and dedication that goes into this. And then the other crazy thing is like the entire field of sports and athletics, like umbrella TM, has changed and shifted so much in the last like 20 years, that like how people are, I'm going to say, doing sports, as a weird of a statement as it is, but like how people are doing sports now is completely different than how they were doing sports back in, like the late 80s, early 90s, not to, date myself, but
Oh, completely different.
right, like the ideas of now, like the biggest thing is, all of the girls are now doing quads, in quad spins, quad turns in their skating routines, like quad axels, quad toe loops, quad lutzes, which are the most difficult jumps and tricks to do. Like to the point where they're not necessarily like disqualifying moves, but they're like, they don't have a scoring rubric for them. Like it's kind of the same situation that like Simone went through, where like a lot of her tricks and stunts are so insane and insanely difficult that
They're just like, hey, wait, you can't
you
do
can't do
that.
that because we don't have a way to score them, and also what you're doing is so like death defying that anybody else doing this could kill themselves.
Yeah, so we don't want people to try. You are a liability issue.
Hmm.
You and your skill and talent. Like what?
Well, even
What?
like,
Imagine going out on a dance floor and then telling people, hey, and like coming with like a move nobody has done before,
right.
which is pretty crazy for ballroom. But like it's also pretty crazy for like gymnastics or anything that's in the Olympics, right? And just imagine going out on a dance floor and then coming off and then like naming your routine and then coming off and then the judge is just like, sorry, we had to disqualify you because you did something, that nobody else can do, and it's really dangerous, so you can't do it.
Well, I'm gonna try to do this here for a quick second, but there's this video, or YouTube is a brilliant thing. To think that YouTube has only been around for like 20 some odd years is the craziest thing to me. But even looking at like the differences in just how we do like ballroom dancing, um from like the 1970s to now, it's completely night and day. First of all, these videos from like the 1970s and 60s of these people dancing are the funniest things on the entire planet, because
I love it.
it is very of the era. Hold on. Is this waltz? Okay. There's one where they're dancing like all of the Latin rhythm dances, and it is wild. But
Pretty
anywho,
smooth and standard. Like, wait, where's your frame?
right. And and all of the dresses were like stiff tutus that like were above the knee. All of the girls wore um shoes that were a matching color relative to their dress. All of the guys wore tail suits, regardless of if they were dancing standard or Latin. And everything was just like, it was basically like, do the cha-cha, but make it like a ballroom dance. 1960s. It's a 19...
It was great. Makes makes me want to wish I danced back then.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I'm kind of like where we are right now from
Yes.
just like an energy and style perspective.
Yeah, no, yeah, same, but like I still think I'd look good doing all those moves out there,
Although, not gonna
especially the
lie,
really crazy.
these costumes that they were wearing in like the 90s, top notch. All the guys with like big sleeves. Woo!
Oh, definitely.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
I
Anywho, I am.
I have like
Oh, you've got like the puffy sleeve, like the like classic like merengue, like Cuban Pete.
yeah,
I need
and
to get me one of those.
it's one of those deep V-necks that have the ruffles.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. On a completely unrelated note, I completely forgot. Happy Black History Month. Hello.
Happy Black History
You
Month.
see
Yes,
how
that
quickly we
is like
forget. I forgot. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Next to the Floor, where we celebrate Black voices and culture and stuff, and then forget about Black History Month, which is where we are currently.
Oh yeah, this is actually our Black History Month episode. Yeah.
Bing
Well, one of
bong.
them, should I say.
Whoops. Anywho. Oh, man, I am very glad that this week is over, and I'm very glad that these last 8 weeks are over. Just in
You
general.
worked hard. Well, it's just we get a little bit of break from the storm until we hit March.
Yeah,
Because
but
March is going to be pretty crazy.
March is going to be crazy, but the good news is that at least for the month of March, where like everything's organized. Everything
Yes.
in the month of March is organized, and things are, there's a plan for everything, and we're going to enact all of those plans, and everything's going to be a-okay. I'm just glad that these last couple of weeks are over. I have never been so like anxious and frustrated and moody ever in my entire life.
I feel like you did pretty well, though.
Oh, I know I did pretty well.
Those emotions.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm solid like a rock. But there was a lot of like inner turmoil. I cried a lot this past month. I will let everybody know. There was a lot of tears and emotions. All emotions, all relating to the job and life, and the realization that I am suddenly thrust into this weird, wild world of adulthood.
Yep.
Like, not even just like casually walked in. Like, no, I was standing kind of near the door, and then like a rhinoceros came and charged up behind me and like slammed me face first through the door, leaving me leaving me like tumbling and like with a broken wrist on the other side, which is better, by the way. I will have everybody know I can do all of the things that I used to do. Everything is fine now.
I am so glad that you're okay.
I know, me too. This is your opportunity, by the way, Gary, to give me a formal apology on, the internet.
I apologized already.
I know.
1,000 times. But you know what? You're my friend, so I'll apologize some more. I am sorry. I am sorry.
That's okay.
I I'm so glad you're doing better.
Yay.
And
It was
is it
really
still hurting a little bit?
yeah, I mean like most sprains, you know, they take a lot longer to heal, mostly because like, you know, you're not injured enough where you can't use the joint. So, you know, you inevitably do. So, like, I think right now I just have some like muscle tension right here that makes like here sometimes feel a little like hurty, but aside from that, it's fine. Like when I do this, I'm like, oh, these
Husband, like,
muscles are really tight.
don't do that. What are you doing?
Well, you know, I feel like if I stop
What is
moving,
it?
I'll die.
Tell the people what it's like teaching with a hurt wrist.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's been great. It has been actually a very very nice change of pace teaching with a hurt wrist because for the first time in forever, my students, I don't like to say my students, but the students that I work with, you know, have finally listened and understood the concept of not holding on to me. You know, try as we might as male instructors to be like, you need to stop like clinging on to me because you're hurting me. You got to stop pulling me. You got to stop pushing me. They have all stopped.
There we go.
And it has been so nice because, and I've been able to just like teach them how to stop clinging, which has been so incredibly good. I've been very excited about that fact.
Important skill to have. I'll
Yeah.
tell you that.
But I'm very glad to be on the other side of that hump and to be able to just like get back to life as I knew it. Speaking of getting a car, speaking of becoming an adult, got to get a car, which I think is the scariest thing.
What type of car are you thinking about?
I don't know, and this is where, you know, having to get this car is coming at like, I think in the timeline the worst possible time, because I've just gone, you know, a little bit of backstory for everyone. Okay, so, you know, a whole bunch of like seismic shifts happening at work, and in preparation for one of infinite number of possible outcomes, you know, we create plans, like action plans. So in if this happens, here's what we're gonna do. If this happens, here's what we're gonna do. If this happens, here's what we're gonna do. You know, plans A, B, C all the way through Z, ready to go. Awesome.
Planning like a maniac.
Right, because
That's, you know, that
it's good. It's a really great thing. You know, you can never be too over prepared. And you know, as my mom always said, you don't fail to plan. No, you don't plan to fail. You fail to plan. Yep. And then, to quote Stephen Sondheim from the musical Into the Woods, when going to hide, know how to get there, how to get back, and eat first.
there you
So
go.
there's a bit of wisdom for you. But the hardest thing is with all of these plans, that sense of like mystery as far as like which plan is it going to be, and then the turmoil associated with it's going to be this plan. Just kidding, it's going to be this plan. Oh, just kidding, it's going to be this other plan. Just kidding, it's going to be the first one. Oh, just kidding, that's not happening anymore. We've got to go with this one. Just kidding, we're going to go with this plan. That has been very...
That's where the anxiety comes from.
Yes, it has been, and it has been very, I think more just like emotionally taxing because, you know, I was very excited for every single plan. There was like something in each plan that was exciting. There was a new and exciting thing for each plan. And so to have like the first plan kind of fall through and just be kind of like, oh, right? We were excited about it, and then it was kind of like, oh, that's not happening. So there was that sense of like brief sense of disappointment, and then like, okay, let's get excited about this next plan, and then that's not happening. So
Oh,
Oh, and then, so it's that constant like up and down was just very, very not annoying, but just it
annoying.
was just like it was very overwhelming. And then, with all of the plans, barring like 3 or 4 of them, I needed to get this car, but I couldn't like actually act on getting a car until I knew what was going on. And so now I'm here having to get a car, and it's a very stressful process because, like, you're
It
getting
is.
a
I mean,
car.
it's an
It's an
investment
investment.
that you're gonna.
It's an
Yeah.
investment, and like with anything, you want to enjoy what you're investing your money in. And
Hmm.
not for nothing, I love my stepfather. He is one of the most brilliant men in the entire world, but when it comes to helping one make a decision on something in particular, like in this case, because I'm at the point right now where I just don't want to make a decision. I just want like somebody to say, take this, and I'll just go sign my name on the line, say, here's my money, great. Like I'm kind of resigned from the whole entire process. He is very much the like he needs to he's a researcher, right?
Oh,
You know what I mean?
definitely.
Like, he'll,
Show me the Carfax.
right, basically, show me the Carfax, and then while I'm on Carfax, you check out all of this stuff on Consumer Reports, and then I'm gonna call my guy over here to see what he thinks, and then while that's all happening, we're gonna test drive these other 6 cars, and so I'm just kind of like, there's a lot of moving pieces here, and I just want to say yes or no and be done with it.
I'm the type of person that walks on the lot, points at a car, and says, "Give me that one."
Right. That is truthfully where my heart and soul is right now. That I'm just kind of like, I think with buying a car or with buying any larger investment, I've been pretty good about like, being okay with doing the research. I think that's an important thing. So that way I'm not like foolishly just throwing away money. Like when I bought my new laptop last year, I did a lot of research into buying
Yeah.
the correct one. It was really exciting. I had a lot of fun with that. But
Um,
um
definitely.
but yeah, I would very much rather right now just kind of walk onto the lot and be like, I want that car.
So like, give me that one.
Yeah.
That's mine.
Yes. Oh, speaking of doing research. Speaking of, I need to tell you this story because I don't think you were no, I didn't tell you this story. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, you remember how the other week I had that phone call with the guy who was incredibly educated. The incredibly educated guy
Yes.
and his wife
They,
who were looking
he knew
for
everything about,
about vaccines and how they're not going to step foot near it, and they're incredibly educated or whatever. Well, I had another scenario like that while at work the other day, um, and it was a really good time.
on the phone or in person.
Um, a little of both. A little of both. Okay, so here's the scenario. You know, um, back in December, when Omicron started like having a whole bunch of upticks in cases and things along those lines, we decided we're gonna in the studios we're just gonna put the mask policy back in play. We're gonna cancel a couple of the
Because that makes sense.
right, because that makes sense. We're gonna cancel a couple of the parties. We're gonna go back to no touch for the group classes, just for the foreseeable future until like we kind of reevaluate things and see what's going on. So, starting at the beginning of the year, we have like this, and I'm not gonna, obviously not gonna say names because I don't want to put anybody's business out there, but um, working with some students, and I realized like partway through the lesson, because we had just come back from the break and whatever, that like, oh, they're not wearing masks on their lessons. And I realized this about halfway through, and like it just like clicks in my mind. I'm like, oh, I completely forgot, like, we just reinstituted our like mask policy. They probably didn't see it. or whatever. No big deal.
Uh-huh.
So I say to them, I'm like, oh, hey, my apologies. We just reinstituted our mask policy. Is it okay if I just run over and just grab you guys a couple of masks from the office? And then, because I know you guys are going to group class after this. So, and the gentleman looks at me and goes, actually, no, I have a medical condition. And I was like, oh God, here we go. And I was like, okay.
Oh no.
I was like, oh boy, here we go. Where it's gonna be one of these. And I was like, okay, well, cool. Well, just so you know, like, we just reinstituted our like mask policy here in the studio. So just for like your next visit when you're in the studio, just know that like we're gonna ask that you wear a mask when you come in or whatever. And so we end the lesson, time goes by. They come in for
Group class, right?
Group class or whatever. And she's wearing a mask. Like, she got the hint, but he's not. And so, one of our instructors, politely says, like, hey, blah, 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 we have a mask policy, blah, blah, blah. He gives her the same thing. I'm like, okay, so at this point, I'm like, okay, so we need to figure out something. Basically, in order for this guy, in order for us to, like, I'm not trying to play these games with these people, right? So I'm like, you know what? If you want to not wear a mask, whatever, just bring us a doctor's note.
Yeah.
Not a big
But
ask.
they don't really have a next.
We know they don't have, and even if they, like, and maybe he does, and that's all well and good, but I highly doubt it. So no. So we tell him that. I'm like, okay, so you need to have a mask on when you come into the studio. So the other day, they're supposed to come in for their lesson that evening, and their instructor, they come over to me. They're like, hey, Harrison, we've got such and so and what's her name coming in for a lesson tonight, and like I'm concerned that they're gonna like kind of skirt the mask policy again. And I was like, okay, well, we just need to remind them that like in order for us to for them to come in, they need to come in with a doctor's note or whatever. So like I know you said last time that like you would remind them. And so she was like, okay. So she went and goes and gives them a call, and like 2 minutes later she comes back into the staff room almost in tears. Yeah, almost in tears, because she's like overwhelmed by the response that she just got on the phone. And I was like, okay. I was like, what did he say? Blah, blah, blah. And she, trying to hold back tears, goes, like he was saying that I can't ask him that. And, it's against his HIPAA rights and the ADA and blah, blah, blah. And yada yada yada, and I just don't know what to do. And I was like, okay, no big deal, I'll go talk to him, whatever. So I go over, and for everyone, backstory, or not backstory, a little history on me. I was a mathematics and education major when I was in college, so a large part of our education studies is on special education and understanding, like fully understanding the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, which is like, largely where we end up with like IEPs and things along those lines in schools. So fully aware of what the ADA is and what it means. So I get on the phone with this guy and I'm like, hey, whatever your name is, just wanted to like check in with you about our mask policy, because I understand, we understand that you have a medical condition. That's totally fine, we respect that, but in order for us to circumvent the fact that we have a mask policy, we're gonna just ask that you provide us with a doctor's note letting us know that it's from your doctor that it's okay for you to dance without a mask on, right? Because like that's a logical statement, because if it's not just to with everything that's going on, it's not safe for you to, or our community, for you to be in the studio without a mask on, period, just as like concept. And then further, if you have a medical disability, we'll want to make sure that, like, you know, we're not doing anything that's going to harm you physically. And he goes, well, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna provide that because it's against my HIPAA rights and it's against the ADA. And I was like, okay, so let me just, and I was very proud of myself because, normally I would try to be very professional on the phone with humans and people. But this was the first time I like professionally told somebody that they were stupid and like not to talk to me ever again. But I was like, so, well, I just want to let you know that you're wrong about that. So yeah. I was like, well, I just want to let you know that you're wrong about that. And just so you know, like, what your HIPAA rights are, we would be violating your HIPAA rights if we as a studio contacted your doctor and asked for your personal medical information without your consent. Which is not what we're doing at all. We're just asking that you have your doctor provide you a note saying that it's okay for you to dance without a mask on. That doesn't really have anything to do with your medical history. That's more of just like an acknowledgement that it's okay for you to continue taking dance lessons without having to wear a mask. And then on a similar note, the ADA actually doesn't cover this current circumstance because the American Disabilities Act, and I gave him the date too. I was like, the American Disabilities Act of 1990 actually only covers discrimination against disabilities that are substantial and life-altering. That includes both mental and physical disabilities, of which, even if you had one that was covered by the ADA, you would still have to provide a doctor's note to us to let us know what accommodations we have to make for you in order to be in compliance with the ADA. So in either case, you do actually have to provide us with a doctor's note. But in the meantime, I'm going to give you a couple of options and you can let me know what you want to do going forward. One, you can, you can get a doctor's note and come into the studio without wearing a mask. Number two, you can, move all of your lessons virtually because that's an option. Number three, we can find you a studio that doesn't have a mask policy, and you can take your lessons there. Number four, we can offer you a refund on the remainder of your program. Number five, you can come in and just wear a mask, and that will be totally fine. Or number six, we just cancel your lessons until we change our mask policy, and then you and your wife can come back in. What would you like to do?
You're violating my rights.
And at that point, I mean, like, what are you gonna say? Because obviously we're not. And for, for everybody out there who's like, well, it's a violation of my HIPAA rights and against the Americans with Disabilities Act. It's really not. We're a private organization and we have every single right to have a policy that requires you wear a mask into our business. It has nothing to do with discrimination. If you have a legitimate medical disability that prevents you from wearing a mask, you can very easily just let us know ahead of time. There are methods. I think this is the thing, right? There are methods to go about, I guess I don't want to say like skirting the rules, but there are methods to do that. Like if I go to a place and I know that they have rules and regulations regarding this, right? It's like going to school. If you know that there are rules and regulations regarding one thing and you have a disability that's preventing you from following up with that, what do? You contact the school ahead of time and say, hey, so this is my current situation. What can be done about that?
No, I just want to be a problem.
Right. And you want to be like, if it's a problem, then like, if it's a problem that we have a mask policy for you, like, that's fine. Like, let's say you have like a severe breathing disability, like a severe breathing disability where wearing a mask could possibly like cause some reason, some way, some shape or form asphyxiation or something. Like, let's say that were the case. You would, like, honestly, I would let somebody know about that ahead of time and say, like, hey, here's my situation. Is there something that we can do? Like, is there a way that, we can do, I can come in for my lessons at, like, a quieter time in the studio where nobody's there. Maybe, like, I do my lessons over in, like, one space, like, separated away from people, what have you, right? Like, is there a way that your studio can accommodate me? And if not, like, do you have any recommendations for where I can possibly go? Rather than it being like, no, you're violating my rights, I demand you serve me. Like, those are two very different circumstances. And I feel like our reaction would be much different if he had just chosen to go with the first one rather than the second one.
Yeah, because then you lose like a lot of like respect,
Right.
and just like you just put a target. You don't
You
necessarily
put a
put a
target
target
on
on
your
your back,
back, but
but
you put a
like
target on your back. I mean, like, he and his wife are gonna come back now, and I'm gonna be like, oh, here's this asshole.
exactly. Or you're just not gonna come back to this. You just lose that thing you had in your life,
Right.
that awesome community, and like, I mean, we have some students that were just like, okay, bye.
Right. I'm not
You know,
upset. I'm not afraid to fire a student. And here's the crazier part about this is, like, I was telling you that, like, we're Weymouth is like for a very liberal area or a blue area, Weymouth is more red than not. It it's like
I can see
it's
that. Yeah, I
purple, but
definitely.
there's right. You saw that Blue Lives Matter thing right outside the studio. It's very uncomfortable. Anywho, like, we have students who are like diehard Trump fans, Trumpists, and are like, so fuck Joe Biden, let's go Brandon, that it's like, it's wild. Yet they still respect our studio enough to wear masks inside. Like, one guy even has a mask that says "I miss Trump" on it. And yeah, do we wish he wore something else? Yeah, but at least he's respecting our policy by wearing a mask while he's in the studio. So, like, at least there's at
Yeah.
least some, like, level of, I don't want to say integrity, but there's at least some level of respect that, some people are willing to provide regardless.
Yep, that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yes. But anywho, that was that. I'm just hoping I don't have to, deal with that again. I'm just thinking, what if we just, because I told him that we will most likely post something in one of our newsletters if the mask policy changes. But I'm just gonna I'm just gonna see if we just, like, we just tell people, like, in the studio, we just, like, post something in the studio rather than put it in the newsletter. So that way they never know.
Yeah.
That would be shady. That's shady. That's bad business. But
Yeah, no, you can just post the newsletter
oh yeah,
in the
just put the
studio.
newsletter, like, in the windows of the studio, just be like, effective this day. We're gonna be lifting our mask policy, um, pending, further whatever. But we're gonna recommend, like, if you're not feeling well or whatever, that you do wear a mask while you're in the studio, just to help prevent spread of whatever. Blah blah blah. Sincerely, Team Weymouth. But
Isn't the mask policy like for business going away soon?
it is in a lot of the, like, surrounding, like, smaller communities. It's not for Boston, which makes a lot of, I mean, like, that makes sense considering like how busy Boston is. But I know like Melrose, where I live, just lifted their indoor mask policy or mandate. But you know, I feel like a lot of places in the area, like people even still are just gonna continue wearing masks inside, which I'm still gonna wear a mask on the T. I'm not trying to mess around with that.
I'm wearing a mask on the T for probably the rest of my life.
Forever, like on any form of public transportation, on a plane, on the T, anywhere where I'm like in a room like confined with people
A lot of people
for no reason.
smelling people's breaths and
Right.
farts
For like what? For what?
and body. You're so close to them, you smell their
Their
body
body,
odor.
right? And for what? So that I can go to work? Like, ew. I hope
A
like
lot of people ask me like, why do you? A lot of people ask me like, why do you change when you get to work? Why do you like wear separate clothes? And why don't you just wear the clothes that
because
you like wear? I'm like, because I go on the T. I
right,
go underground.
right. I'm not trying to,
Listen,
and like I'm not trying to take I'm not trying to take work with me. You know, like I want to feel like two different people. I want to feel like Harrison that exists outside of the studio when I'm not in the studio, and then I want to feel like Harrison when I'm in the studio when I'm in the studio.
yes,
Ugh.
and that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yes. People got me, got me messed up. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we're at the end of today's episode. It's already happening. We're at that hour mark.
Wow, wow,
I know.
goes by quick.
It goes by way too quick. But yeah, I guess y'all here's some things. One, oh, I forgot to nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, all of my pictures disappeared. Anywho. Well, make sure you check out our Patreon. There we go. I figured it out. We're good now. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/next to the floor. Help support the stream. Thanks to all of our current Patreons. Thanks a bunch. You guys are the best around. Helping make this whole thing run and operate and flow smoothly. Make sure you check out our, main man Bjorn's rock dance company at therockdance.com. I know he just had a free class today that I obviously didn't go to because I was a shut-in and decided to stay inside all day today. But check him out at therockdance.com. I know they're planning another competition coming up here at some point in time. I don't know when, but I'm very excited for it. And then I'm gonna actually post another link here. I know this is, our reach is not super far ranging or whatever, but that's okay. One of my really good friends from high school, Olivia Avanzado, who I adored when we were in high school together. She has her own like dance company. Everybody's got dance companies. I don't what am I doing? I work for one.
I know,
Right? But they are in my hometown hosting their first ever, they're calling it Rainbow Salsa Dance in Oneonta.
Oh, I saw that you posted.
Yeah. I posted it on my Facebook. I'm going to post it into the Facebook page for Next to the Floor. But yeah, I'm wicked excited about it. I'm actually... It's happening this coming Saturday, so if you happen to be in the Oneonta, New York area, definitely check it out. It's happening at the Foothills Performing Arts Center from 7 o'clock until 10 p.m. I'm going to update the description and things so that way there's a link to this article talking about it. But check them out. I'm also going to post the link on our Facebook so you can see that. Wicked excited. It's actually happening the same weekend that I'm going home to visit my nephew for the first time. So not only am I going to go salsa dancing for like an hour or so and then drive the rest of the way to my parents' place. I know, catch me salsa dancing. Never. But I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, that'd be so fun.
That looks fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
The thing I was smiling about was catch you dancing for an hour, which if anybody
All right,
watching
shut
this
up.
ever social dances knows that
An
an
hour
hour
is gonna be that is a
quick.
that's not a lot of time. That's not a lot of time to go dancing, but also it's kind of like saying one more time, right? Or one last time.
Yes.
It never really means one last time. Hold on, I've got a phone call from my husband. Hold on, should I answer it while we're on air? I'll just send him to voicemail. I'm just gonna send him to voicemail. But yeah, I'm gonna go do dancing for a little bit and then drive the rest of the way to Owego, New York to see my parents, see a baby, and then next time y'all see me, I will be the owner of a car because I'm also getting a car next weekend. What that car is going to be, I don't know. But anywho, check us out at all of our socials on Facebook, Next to the Floor, on Twitch at XXHeyJXX, on YouTube at / Next to the Floor. Check out Gary on Instagram at _good_guy_Gary. Check us out at our Patreon at www.patreon.com / next to, oh, the camera's over here, the floor. That is the number 2, not 2 floor. And yeah, we've got to set up some time to do some coaching, and who knows, I might live stream our coaching and just see the hilarity that ensues. Probably won't because I don't want to embarrass them. But everybody have a wonderful night. Just remember, it costs $0 to be a good person. Black Lives Matter, and happy Black History Month, whatever that means to you. Don't do drugs. Make love, not war. And yeah, that's it.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Goodbye now. Oh, hold on. I've got to do goodbye. There we go. There's our exit music. Goodbye.
Go sports ball.
Go sports ball. Oh yeah. Hold on. Where did we land on this? Where are we right now in the game? Who knows? 13-10 at the end of the first half. It's time for the halftime show. Go watch it. Go watch it. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.